All right, awesome. And Lance is our fearless leader at Lightning Ranch Retreats, who has been doing all sorts of stuff behind the scenes. So thank you, Lance. And he's the person who's coordinating the accommodations and registration kind of stuff at Lightning Ranch. So Jean, anything else I need to cover, or Lance, before I turn it over to Jean to take it away?
No, I think we're okay.
All right, awesome. And I'm Melanie. Some of you know me. I'm coordinating this with Jean and Lance, and I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
This was her idea. So she when she met Lance, so that was great.
Yeah, and I guess what I'll say about that is that it feels like people, anyone, no matter whether they want to study shamanism in depth or not, can benefit from having a little toolkit of shamanic tools. Just like in the analogy I make is that although I am not good at carpentry and I'm not a carpenter, I still have a toolbox in my pantry that's got a hammer and a wrench and a couple of screwdrivers and some screws and some nails in there because I need those. And so that's my analogy. The course that we're going to teach is like an introduction, the basic toolkit everybody should have to keep themselves grounded and well, using some fundamental shamanic techniques that are ages old, that can keep you happy and healthy. So take it away, Jean.
All right. Well, welcome everybody again. Shamanism is one of the oldest religions, oldest world religions. And we have found, or not we, because I haven't, but it has been found in the Paleolithic cave art. And there are experiences all over the world about shamanism. Actually, the word shaman came from the Tungus tribe in Siberia. So it's not even Native American, as some people think that the word is Native American. It's not. It came from the Tungus tribe in Siberia. And so shaman or shamanka if you're a woman. Now, I do have some students who call me shamanka, but it's usually shaman. Okay. Shamanism is built on 4 pillars, okay? Connection with nature, the healing of self and your community. And in participating in the workshop, you actually are going to be working on healing yourself. And we're the ones that are putting it on. And so on, we're helping our community. It's a spiritual practice. And for those of us who practice it seriously, it's a way of life. I once had somebody that I met, and when they were watching me and listening to me and I was working with them, they said, "This really is your life, isn't it?" And I go, "You got it. All it is." I live it, I walk it, I breathe it. It's part of me. And it ends up being a part of you because it is such a tremendous tool that we are given with shamanism. As a shaman, we also work with the 4 directions. We work with Mother Earth, and we work with the higher realms of spirit. So we're always connecting with one of those or all of them at the same time. My training comes from the shamanic traditions of the Quero or Incan, native to South America and mainly Peru. Before I started my search for my training, I recognized, and a lot of reasons people do this type of work is, I recognize that I long for something more in my life than what I already had. And I had already lived a pretty, I started this 15 years ago. So it's not that long ago, but it was a longing, something I needed more in my life. I needed something greater than I had already known. And I knew that something was lacking. And so I started searching. I started working with tuning forks, and that didn't do it. I did Reiki, that didn't do it. I taught Reiki. No, still wasn't. Too much in the box. I wanted something that I could flow with, it could be a part of me. And then I remembered that when I was in college in the early 70s, I had read the book, The Teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda. And I said, oh, I remember that book. And I went and bought all his other books and reread my Teachings of Castaneda. And then I discovered Hank Wesselman, was a shaman in Hawaii. And I read all of his books. And it was like, okay, shamanism has to be it. And then I discovered Dr. Alberto Violdo and his teachings. The Shaman Healer Sage is the book that did it for me. And I knew I had to find him, and I had to find out how to do this. But when I did, it was cost prohibitive. So I decided then to go on and to a fire ceremony one time in Old Town in Albuquerque. And lo and behold, there was my connection to Dr. Alberto Violdo's teachings without having to pay the thousands of dollars, because I found a teacher who had been trained by someone that he had trained. So it was an amazing experience. It was not in the box. It was not dogma. And I could actually expand my life with it. It is something like some people have taken up the classes or shamanism only because they had something drastic happen in their life. Well, part of my search, actually, truthfully, was that I was going through a divorce. And I said, what am I going to do now? You know, not because I was divorcing, but what am I going to do with my life? It wasn't now just the kids and the husband and work. Okay, I wanted to do something. And many of us will do that. Or you may have had an illness and you go and look for a shaman to help you because nothing else can help you. And you find out, wow, this is something I can do to help myself on a daily basis. So we need to remember that some of the things or some of the people that we have contact with in our everyday life are energy vampires. Just plain as day, they suck our energy away. The majority don't know they're doing it, but they are. And so we need to know how to protect ourselves from that. And that's one of the things that we'll teach you in the workshop. And we'll lead you through a journey in order to put a protective shield on so that you'll be protected at all times from these people. Okay, and you'll learn how to take care of whatever does come in. Today, when I get done with what we're going to cover in the workshop, is I'm going to teach you how to do cord cutting, because cutting of the cords that we cord somebody else and they cord us, we need to cut those cords because that cord is sucking our energy. It's draining us. How many of you by the end of the day are just so tired that you're wondering what in the heck happened? And it's because of that. It's the cord cutting that needs to happen. And so Lightning Ranch is offering us a big opportunity to do some work. You'll learn how to do breathing exercises that can help you, relax you, and so on. You'll learn how to deconstruct the energy of a word or a phrase that really upsets you. You'll learn some physical and mental grounding techniques that you can use on a daily basis, especially for anxiety. Those are very, very important. You'll learn how to work with your 7 basic chakras, how to clear them out. And we're also going to teach you how to use a pendulum so that you can get basic yes and no answers to questions you may have. Okay, that's part of it. I have some very simple prayers that you can say to help you get through your day. And one of them is, some of us are so hard on ourselves that we are always feel so guilty, and we carry this guilt and shame for everything that's happened in our lives, even though we didn't create it. And so there's a basic little tiny prayer that releases us from guilt and shame. And whenever I give one to somebody, I hand it out. There's two of them printed on the sheet of paper, and they said, well, shall we cut this in half to save the paper? And I said, no, one is going in your bathroom and one's going at work. So that you can have it with you all the time to remind you, to let go of any guilt and shame that you may feel. Just let it go and go on with your day. Okay, so you're going to learn quite a few prayers. You're going to journey to the lower world to look for your power animal and learn how to work with that power animal so that they may be able to help you throughout your day and throughout your life. Learn how to set up walls so between people that are causing you, how can I say it, that are not good for you. Okay, they're sending negative thoughts to you all the time and all this stuff. So you just put up a wall between you and them so you don't feel them, they can't come in. Okay, you'll learn how to do eye exercises. On Saturday, after Lightning Ranch very graciously feeds us, because they're going to have dinner for us, we will have a ceremonial fire ceremony. So you'll see the traditional fire ceremony that we'll conduct for you. And in this fire ceremony, you'll be able to release some of the things that you worked on during class that day with the fire. On Sunday morning, for those of you that are early birds, I will lead you through an exercise with working with sky gazing. So you can do sky gazing at night with the moon, in the morning with the sunrise, and so on. So we're going to do some sky gazing during that time. I believe we'll be in the energy of the full moon then, when we're there. Or it might be the new moon. I can't remember. One of the moons. The new moon? Okay. We'll be with that one. Okay. So let me show you, because I've already gone over some of my time. How to do cord cutting. Why do we want to cut cords? Sometimes people cord us for just because they like us, okay? And we get corded. One time, I'll give you an example of a cord cutting thing that somebody watched me do. And it was my grandson. We were driving on a very busy street, on a very busy road. And I noticed somebody barreling down behind me, and I go, they're going to hit me. I can't move to either side. I was in the middle. And apparently the person that was in front of me on the left side pulled up, because the guy that was barreling behind me almost cut me off. He almost hit me in the back and then pushed his way in the front, and I had to slam my brakes. I'm holding on to the steering wheel, and I'm doing this while I'm driving, holding on to the steering wheel. And my grandson, Smarty, looks at me and goes, cutting cords, are we, Grandma? Because he knew Grandma was just corded and she corded him. And there was energy exchanged. And when you exchange energy, whether it's somebody that you love, or it's somebody that you meet at the grocery store, or it's a cashier that treated you poorly, you've corded them. Okay? And so you want to make sure that you cut cords. And you can do this with your hand. It's a knife. There it is. Okay? And you're going to start with your seventh chakra. Fueguito, did you move out of the way? I made sure the dog wasn't underneath me. Let's see. Can you see me? Okay. So I'm going to start at our seventh chakra, and we're going to come all the way down to our first chakra. So I'm going to say, I cut all our karmic and genetic cords to, what are we going to cut it to? To my mom, with unconditional love, just an example, okay? And I cut all karmic and genetic cords to my mother with unconditional compassion. And I cut all karmic and genetic cords to my mother with unconditional forgiveness. So now that you saw the process, and know that we can cut cords to not only people, but to places and to things. So let's say that you're an artist and you want to sell your artwork and it's not selling. And sometimes some of my clients will say, I can't sell the stuff. I don't know what's going on. And I say, have you cut the cords to it, or are you still attached to it? Have you let it go? And so you have to learn to cut the cords to it. Okay. And have you cut the cords to your house if you're trying to sell it? So it's not just people. Okay. People, we want to do it so that we don't take energy away from each other. I cut the cords to my children every night. Doesn't matter how much I love them, because I don't want to pull energy from them and I don't want them to pull it from me. So at the end of the night, I just say, I cut all karmic and genetic cords to everyone that I've had contact with today. And I cut them with unconditional love. And I cut them with unconditional compassion. And I cut all karmic and genetic cords with unconditional forgiveness. And you just mention that over and over again, and you do it. And that just did everybody that I had any contact with that day. And then that way, you're free and clear of their energy. Because sometimes when we're working with people, those of us that have trained, and we're looking at their energy field, they are so corded. It is just amazing. And some of the cords can even be as thick as a electrical cable, huge cords, especially to those that affect our lives on a continuous basis. So we need to make sure that we cut them. You're going to be, during Lightning Ranch retreat, you're going to be learning how to, like I said, set up a shield to protect yourself from this happening. Okay? Melanie, do we have any questions? I can't hear you, hon.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? I realized I forgot to say in the introduction, if folks could put their email in the chat, then we can do any follow-up.
And I can send them the handout for the cord cutting.
That would be awesome. Then we can send you the handout. And also, I'm going to put the link for the retreat in the chat if people haven't had that. And just before, I guess we're going to do more of the questions, but one thing that I noted that some people asked me recently when I did an introduction to this introduction is how this relates to other religions, or does this mean that if you have another religion, you can't do shamanic practice? And what I feel about that is that there was shamanic practice before there was any of the other religions on the planet. So they're all consistent. There's no reason why you can't do shamanism and have another spiritual practice. This is so fundamental to us walking around on the surface of the earth as animals or creatures on the earth, that it fits with all religions and all types of practice.
I get people from all kinds of religions that come for me to work with them and to take the classes. It doesn't matter. You don't have to learn. This is not a religion. It's not a dogma. It's a way of life.
I had a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. About the cord cutting, is there a time when you don't want to cut the cords, like if you've lost someone and you want to maintain that energy?
Why would you want to maintain the energy?
Well, I just lost my beloved, and I don't know that I want to cut those cords.
You're not cutting him out of your life. What you're doing is you're cutting any cords that may be affecting you in a negative manner.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, you're not cutting.
You just talked about energy transfer or whatever,
Yeah.
and I thought, wait a minute, maybe
No.
I don't want
You're
it.
not cutting him out of your life at all, hon.
Okay, good. So always cut the cords,
Always
every
cut
day,
cords,
all
yes.
people, everything. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Thank you.
and I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I know the answer, but it might be something that other people are thinking about. When I cut the cord, does it affect the other person? Do they feel it? Does it influence them?
It depends on the other person and whether they do feel stuff, but it can influence them. I mean, there's my kids at the beginning said, "Mom, I feel different. What have you been doing to me?" And I said, "I haven't been doing anything to you. I've been doing it to me." I said, "You can't take my energy anymore, Hito." And they go, "Oh, okay." And I can't take yours. So, yeah. But yes, they can feel it sometimes, depending on how their energy is as far as with you. And sometimes they need to know you've cut those cords.
Thank you.
Mhm. I would say the majority of the people don't know. And the reason we say karmic and genetic is because we want to cut any cords that may be attached to us if they were in another lifetime with us. Okay. Genetic is this lifetime. All right, if we don't have any other questions, I'm turning this over to Lance, and he will talk to you about the workshop and the logistics.
Well, thank you very much, Jean. That was very interesting and educational. And I think we're going to walk away with that tool already. So thank you so much. So like they said, that we're at beautiful Lightning Ranch right now, and we are so excited for all of you to come here and experience the beauty that we have here, and to get to participate in all that Jean's going to help us learn and participate in. And we look forward to everyone here. So that's all I really wanted to briefly say. And if there's any other questions that Melanie, Jean, or myself can field, please let us know at this point.
Lance, were you going to talk about lodging?
Yeah, so I can briefly mention lodging. We have, like listed on our website there, you can see that we have 3 available room spaces, beautiful open room spaces, and 2 actual earth bag tiny homes, as well as accommodations in the earth ship that we have on property. I believe one of the few earth ships in Texas. And we also have some extra space in our open loft area. And so there will be room for both private and, well, we're going to see about how many registrations come in. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But when you do register, you can go into the survey on the registration form, and you can put in your preferences there. If you'd like a private space, if you would like a shared space, if you're comfortable splitting space and getting a cheaper accommodation, and whether that's with men or women, or if you prefer a loft space, or if you want to stay in a tiny home by yourself, the whole house to yourself. So all of these are options that you can fill out on the survey, and we will do our best to accommodate everyone. And the pricing will reflect the shared versus private accommodations there, if we're able to handle that. So does anyone have any questions? That's just a brief intro there.
I do. Is there a phone number people can call and talk to somebody?
Yeah. So if you want to talk about any of the accommodations or registration info, you can go ahead and call the number 325-261-3369. And I can put that in the chat.
I just put it in, Lance.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, 325-261-3369, and that's the Lightning Ranch Wellness Center main number. So one of us here will field your questions and help you out.
And if you have questions about the workshop itself, you're more than welcome to contact me. So I'll put that in the chat as well. We both have 261 numbers. Isn't that weird? What are the odds?
What are the odds? Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
hope maybe some people might be interested in staying in some of these unique accommodations that we do have available on the ranch. So if any of that piques y'all's interest, go ahead and fill out that survey and say what you would really like to maybe share in while you're here. We would love that.
And I should also mention that I first connected with Lightning Ranch because it's an intentional community that has philosophically, I'm personally very aligned with. And so my partner and I went to visit Lightning Ranch and found it to be just a really beautiful and cool place doing neat things. So that's how this all originated. And where we're going to be doing the fire ceremony is in their back area, which is it's got quite a beautiful view. So I think you'll find it to be a restful place to be. We will be all kind of like having a big pajama party, not all in the same room at night, but and we will be sharing bathrooms and that sort of thing. But I think that will work out just fine. And also Lightning Ranch is going to be doing a little introduction about Lightning Ranch. That's optional. It's free. It's on Friday night, so you can participate in that or not as you wish. Of course, if you're staying in the loft, you will probably hear it because it will be over the introduction. And then they're also going to do a tour of the property on Saturday morning for those who would like to see the property, which is 132 acres. Is that correct, Lance?
Close, 135. Yeah.
135,
You got
just
it.
slightly
Ooh.
off.
And we're clearing that on Thursday, huh?
Friday. We'll arrive on
okay,
Friday. Yeah,
that's
we're gonna do Jean and I and Susanna and maybe another colleague will be doing a land clearing on Friday, which is not part of the workshop, but will make it very wonderful energetically for those who come over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And that's a process which is great to do at any property that you've either lived in for a while or are just moving into. It kind of clears out old energies or people who might be hanging around that shouldn't be there anymore. So where I live, I've noticed big differences after I've done that.
okay. Anyone else? Thank you for coming. And thank you, Melanie and Lance, for being here too, and for making this possible.
Yes, and thanks everyone for joining us. And
If you put in if you have your email address, Melanie will be sending you a copy of the handout for the cord cutting.
Cord cutting. And that's another thing I would say about studying with Jean, because I think been working with Jean now for going on, I don't know, 8 years, I guess. It'll be 8 years, July 4th, Jean.
Yeah,
And
July 4th.
July 4th is our
4th of
anniversary. My day, my freedom day. And studying with Jean for about 5 years, and her documentation and her handouts are really great so that you don't do something and then go, what was that? And I don't remember what it was anymore. You can go home and do it at home. So that helps. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
For joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Melanie.
Hope to see you. Hope to see you later on in June.
Hope to see you too.
Beautiful.